Hello and welcome to this exciting Love Reading for Kids author event. I am Amy McKay and I'm delighted to be joined today by not one, but two incredible book creators. With me are Teresa Heapy and Adam Beer, the genius author and illustrator duo of the incredible book, Will Wolfheart. Hello, both.
Hello.
Hi.
So Will Wolfheart is an exciting magical adventure which is published by David Fickling Books on the 3rd of July. I have been so excited to talk to Teresa and Adam as I loved reading Will Wolfheart. It's so exciting. It's like a really, really new type of fantasy to me. The world building's exquisite and it's full of amazing illustrations as well. I know it is going to be a real new favourite for a lot of you viewers. But before we tell you all about the book, I want to tell you a little bit about our fabulous guests. So, Teresa Heapy is an award-winning children's writer and the author of many, many adored picture books, including The Wonder Tree and The Enormous Pineapple. She's also written lots of books for educational series and reading, like people developing reader series. I'm almost a little bit starstruck this morning, Teresa, because I've seen your name for such a long time on all those books that come through, all the education books. It's kind of amazing that you're a real person and you sat there. So
Proper real.
Fabulous to meet you. It really, really is.
To meet you.
And Will Wolfheart is your first novel as well, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, it's truly exciting. Yeah, it feels
Really
like a
exciting.
whole world. Yeah.
And Adam Beer is an illustrator living in Devon, I believe.
Yes.
And yeah, you started your career as a storyboard artist, which sounds really exciting. You did that for about 20 years, I read.
Yeah, I still do storyboards,
Okay.
and then I flit in between this and picture books. Yeah.
Fantastic, really, really. And I was really interested because after doing that and being really successful for 20 years, you went back to university to do a master's in illustration as well. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. I think that it was the most fun bit of schooling I've ever done. I think I loved going back when I was a bit older and knew exactly what I wanted to do. Yeah.
I think that's it, isn't it? Doing what you want to do and also maybe having that little bit of age that we appreciate learning more than we do when we're young.
Yeah, and getting to be an art student again was definitely fun.
Yeah, sounds wonderful. So they are our two fabulous guests and we're going to go back to the book. As I said, I loved it, but I know not all of you will have been lucky enough to read it yet. So, Teresa, I'm going to ask you first if maybe you could introduce our audience to it.
So Will Wolfheart is the story of a boy, Will, and his dog, Whisker, who love each other dearly, but can't live together all the time in the real world because Will's new flat doesn't allow pets and dogs can't talk on the phone. So poor Will is, during the week, Whisker goes to live with Will's grandma and Will really misses him. And then one day, on Whisker's first birthday, Will finds himself whisked away to another world, and next to him Whisker seems to have vanished, but there's this wolf there instead. And what happens is that Whisker has turned into this wolf and they can actually talk to each other, so that's great. But they are in this wolf world where the skies are purple and there's thunder and lightning and huge great gashes in the landscape. And there's lots of wolves around too. And some of them are friendly, like Ember, who's the leader of Maple Pack. But some of them, like Claw, who's another member of Maple Pack, are not at all friendly. Claw despises dogs. She can see that Whisker is quite clearly behind the wolf's face, just a little silly, shambolic dog inside. And she would very much like to finish him off and eat Will for dinner. There's also the Flint Pack wolves who want to take over Maple Pack's den and kill Ember, the leader. And there's a little girl as well that they find who seems very angry and sad, but Will can't work out why. And so Will and Whisker have to work together to help save Maple Pack from Flint Pack, to mend Wolf World from all these terrible gashes from the big violent storm. And in doing so, they find the bond between them tested in lots of ways, because I mean, how do you own a wolf? Are things going to change? Is their relationship going to change? So yes, it's about the adventure and danger of Wolfworld, but it's also about the feelings that you have about friendship and loyalty and love and trust and hope. So that's it in a nutshell, without giving any spoilers away.
You did that very, very well, because I imagine it's quite difficult not to give some spoilers there.
Yes, indeed.
It's a lovely book. I really, really enjoyed that close.
Awesome.
It's more than a friendship, isn't it? It's a kinship between boy and dog, boy and wolf. And I thought it was really, really well realised. And I imagine that you must be a dog person. Is that right? The love
person. I don't have a dog, actually.
Really?
I don't have a dog, no. I see lots of dogs when I'm out and about, and I always sort of try and say hello to them. But I don't have a dog, no. So I think I did a lot of observing of dogs and dogs in films and cartoons and things. And so I got Whisker's voice from all of that.
Wow. I'm amazed, because I was convinced that I was going to ask that question and you'd have a massive hound to bring on screen or something.
Sadly not. No. I would, maybe at some point in my life I would like a dog, but not. Yeah, not right at the moment.
I mean, that really is then the incredible genius of writing, because you get that love, so it just jumps from the page and it's so real, and you don't even have your dog yourself. I'm kind of amazed now, and that's wow.
Well, good, I think. I'm glad.
Definitely good. One of the things that's not so good, though, is wolves in general in children's literature. Now, I want to show off a little bit. I want you to appreciate I did prepare as much as I could today. I do have my Little Red Riding Hood dress on.
Excellent. Very good.
And of course, Little Red Riding Hood, and in so many other stories and fairy tales, wolves get actually quite a bad rep in children's
They do,
books.
yeah.
And I wondered what attracted you to telling a story more from their perspective.
Wolves. I think wolves have fascinated me for a long while. So my first picture book is Very Little Red Riding Hood, and that has a wolf in it. And I really liked that character because he's trying really hard to be a good fairy tale wolf and eat her up, but he can't, and he ends up tickling her and looking after her. And I've actually got another picture book coming out next year, which is about a fox and a wolf. So I seem to like wolves. And I was thinking about this and thinking I think I like the wildness of wolves, but I also like their loyalty to their pack. So there's this tension between this fierceness and this care and them working as a team. I find that really fascinating. And I'm also really interested in dogs and wolves, because wolves are the ancestors of dogs. So it got me to think, well, is there dogginess in wolves and is there wolfiness in dogs? And how far is that down? How far do you have to dig to find the wolf or the dog? So yeah, I think that I went to Longleat Safari Park to observe some wolves, and having written about them for so long, I was like, oh, can't I just go and lie down and give them a cuddle? And they were like, no, definitely not. I was not allowed to take one home. But I do like a wolf.
Oh, they're just amazing. They really, really are. Wolves are one of my favourite animals. I did a wolf walk a couple of years ago.
Oh, right.
You take them out, you can get in the back and go out with them. And it was still one of the best days of my life, I think.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I bet I would.
I did that.
So love that. Did you?
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, man, why don't I get to do this?
See, I think now your publisher should be sending you on a wolf walk.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
When did you do yours, Adam?
There's a sanctuary just outside Reading, I think. Years ago, we went along and did it, and they introduce you to the two. They line you up outside these woods, and they walk these two wolves past you on chains, and then you're part of their pack.
Wow.
And the people who have them on chains, they look so wolf. They've all got wolf tattoos and long hair. They're brilliant.
Yeah.
And then you walk with the wolves, and I think one of them you could pat, but only in a certain area.
Right.
But they're so big, they're so long. That's what really got to me, how long they are.
Yeah. I was expecting like big dogs, and they're not. They're so much bigger, and
they're very different beast. But and I think after a while we got very used to it, like it was just we were walking with dogs. But then there were some other people in the woods, and the wolves were just, suddenly it was like, oh, is that dinner? And it changed the atmosphere. It was so weird.
Oh, it's incredible. So Did you do that recently, or did you say that was years ago? Before?
Years ago, yeah, years ago.
Did you call on any memories of that when you were doing the illustrations for this book?
Definitely, it really impacted me, like the size, the length of them, and how they're built. They're so much more powerful than any dogs that you see out and about. Even the sort of your tough staffies and things like that are so much more compact. But yeah, it definitely stuck with me. Definitely.
I know when I did it was that wildness to them. You can almost just sense it. It's just there. It's not. There's no way this is just a really big dog. It's a different creature, and incredible experience. Teresa, you definitely need to go and walk some wolves.
I do.
Absolutely.
Okay. If we do a sequel, we have to get them to take us to do a wolf walk.
Yeah,
I think we'll have to build that into the contract.
Definitely. Talking of the wolves, there's a big cast of characters of the wolves. You said there's some that are good, some that aren't so good. I wonder, Teresa, if you had a favourite.
Ooh, that's really hard. I don't know if I can pick a favourite. It's I love Bramble and Bracken, there's two little cubs, and they're very cute. And Adam has made them look incredibly sweet and playful and gorgeous. So I really enjoy writing them. I also really like Ember. Ember's the leader of Maple Pack, and I love her. I imagine her with a voice like Judi Dench, sort of very clipped and elegant, but can really be powerful when she needs to be. And I love her sense of, I don't know, her integrity and her belief in the pack. So I guess those are my favourites. But then I really like Claw as well, because it's always really wonderful writing a villain. And yeah, I love Claw. Claw is a very satisfying character to write. I guess those are my favourite. But I feel like I'm being very disloyal to everybody else now. I'll have to apologise to the rest of the pack later.
I understand.
Yes.
Bramble and Bracken definitely were my favourites, just for the fun. And the bits where they keep trying to nibble fingers and that sort of thing. And oh yeah, like that reminder all the time that these are wild creatures and are also very cute. And I agree with Claw. Claw, you've created between you such a fantastic villain. Really, that sense reminded me a lot of Scar. Is it Out of the Lion King? The big yeah, I felt that real menace. Yeah, absolutely.
You've done such a great job, Adam. There were certain pictures that took me back to reading books when I was little of sort of villainous characters where I think, oh my goodness, I would almost want to cover that up, but look at it because it was so scary and sort of delicious at the same time.
I think I like drawing the villains a bit too much. I think Claw was my favourite to draw, and then Bramble and Bracken, I think, and maybe Willow because she's quite elegant.
Yeah, she is quite elegant.
But I think Claw is definitely my favourite.
Good.
Oh, your illustrations of Claw, absolutely. These are the things of nightmares. Really, really good. Did you converse a lot in the process of creating this, or did you work separately to each other?
I finished the book, and then Adam came on board.
Right.
We had a big meeting at the publishers.
Yeah, and that was really lovely.
Sort of kick off, and I did some sketching there, and then and we talked about ideas then, and then I went away and I did some initial sketches and bounced those back to Teresa and the team, because of course there's an art director and everyone very much involved. And from there was just sort of a back and forth throughout the process. Especially with the main characters, just to get the ages right and things like that. It's always tricky.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Still doing rewrites at that stage, so we were both beavering away.
It's nice to hear that, though, because sometimes you hear of the author and the illustrator almost being kept separately. Whereas I think with this book, you can, I really felt that there was a link, such a strong link and cohesion between the text and illustrations. I did read it hoping that you'd work together and had a good relationship, and it was a collaboration.
Yeah, definitely, and definitely with the team at David Fickling Books as well. They're so good.
So when you say art director, what will the art director do beyond what the illustrator does?
Almost designing how they'll sit in the book and how the entire book feels and looks. It's designing the whole the book really. So and making sure I don't go off track at any point. And then there are other people in the team who try and keep an eye on consistency and it should be raining here and Adam, you've forgotten this. Things like that. Which it does take a team when you're doing a whole book like this.
Indeed, yeah. DFB are just an amazing bunch of people, and they've been so integral to the book, and they've supported it and loved it, and you can sort of feel that, I think, from the way that they've designed it, and there's a lot of care in it.
And they had the idea for how it looks before I got involved. They found me and to suit how they see the book looking. Yeah,
I think that's really interesting for our audience as well. The idea that a book isn't just created by one or two people; it is such a huge team effort, and all these different jobs that go into it.
Indeed, all these different jobs. I didn't know about these. When I think it's maybe a little easier now that there's the internet, so you can see these, you can find these different jobs. But it's a total eye opener to find all these different jobs within publishing and illustration.
Yeah, like you said, the art director. Then, I mean, the layout of the pages is fantastic, and there's some really, really strong page turns. And the idea that someone concentrates on that for a job, I think that'll be really exciting. For maybe some of our younger audience who are only just thinking about what they might want to be when they grow up, and just that these opportunities are out there.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Absolutely. And the editors, Liz and Maggie, have just been tremendous, and they were a lovely blend of sort of trust, and so they just let me get on with it just most of the time. But then at other times they'd say, what about this character? What about this moment? Do you think you could say a bit more? And I'd suddenly go, oh, yes, I can. And they'd push me into going into more depth about certain issues. And they've done an amazing job.
To have all those skilled professionals around you, as well as you two. Yeah, it's incredible. It's no wonder the book's as marvellous as it is, really.
Oh, well, can't wait to see it.
Yes, soon. On that note, Teresa, I wondered, would you do us a short reading of the book? I'm sure everyone would love to hear it.
So I don't actually have the book. I've got proofs. So this is the beginning of the second chapter. So Will has just landed in Wolfworld and found that Whisker has vanished, and that next to him there is the webs and gleaming fangs of a wolf. Will rapidly searched his mind for anything about wolves. Teeth, offered his mind hastily. Fear, blood, eating. Run away, it concluded, fast. Will turned and ran. He ran to the only place he could go, which was down the steep wooded hill, in the rain and the thunder and the lightning. Whisker, Whisker, where are you? He panted. After him came 4 steady great wolf paws. They got closer with every thumping step, gaining easily, and the paws were obviously attached to the teeth and the fear and the blood and the eating. Will ran. He really ran. He ran like he did at the end of a race, when his arms and legs moved so fast he couldn't feel them. It wasn't enough, though. With every superhuman step, Will could feel the wolf gaining on him. And where was Whisker? How could he do this without him? He dared to glance back. The wolf seemed to be enjoying itself. It even seemed to be enjoying the rain. It effortlessly dodged trees as if it were a game, the muscles in its shoulders rounding and falling in ripples of wet grey fur. Its ears were pricked up in pointed, furry triangles. Its mouth was open, showing large white teeth shining inside. It was making strange noises, but then what noises did wolves make apart from howling and growling and... Blood, fear, run, insisted his mind. Will banged painfully into a spiny tree, slipped on the wet pine needles, and launched into an undignified series of rolls and tumbles into a wood full of bluebells. He barely had time to register he'd made it to the bottom before the wolf was upon him, its body suddenly a huge weight on his chest. Desperately, though it was no use now, Will tried to scrabble away into the bluebells, his thoughts rapidly narrowing to a straightforward desire not to be eaten. He shut his eyes, balled up his shoulders, and screwed himself as small as possible, ready for the bites and the blood and the eating. He waited and waited. There seemed to be a lot of licking going on. Will turned his head to and fro, trying to avoid the rough, pink tongue. The wolf was still making strange noises like a mixture of yelps and hiccups, whilst its eyes looked intently into his. Will turned his head away and braced him again for the moment of biting and blood as the yelpings grew to a roaring whirl. "Master!" Suddenly, with a great gulp and a hiss, the wolf's strange noises shifted in Will's ears. "Master, do not fear, it's me." "Me?" Will turned to face the wolf, just as a sheet of lightning lit everything in platinum. The wolf's face shone in the bright white light, and every inch of its fur shimmered. Its eyes were a blazing blue. Yes, master, it's me. You're Whisker." "Wait, what?" Will pulled himself up onto his elbows. "Whisker? My dog, Whisker? That Whisker?" The wolf sat back on its haunches, looking pleased. Its tail thumped vigorously. Its mouth moved, and Will could understand it. "Knew it," said the wolf. "Knew you'd understand, Will, master. I am finding it quite hard to understand myself, if I am honest. But look, it is me." Before Will could move again, the wolf swiftly moved its muzzle down and nudged it under Will's chin in the old Whisker way. "It is me. I promise, Will, master." Slowly, Will lowered his arms. He found his hands moving to rest on the wolf's head. "Oh, Will, master," said the wolf. Yes. You always know what to do. You know you're Whisker, don't you?" And then, thank you, the wolf prances around saying, "Look, I have all this fantastic stuff I haven't got before. I've got big shoulders and I can smell lots." And yes, very clearly a dog inside a wolf's body.
That was fantastic. I want you to read the entire book to me now.
Me too.
That was amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
This is the first event that you've done for the book, so you're not like, have you been practicing doing that reading because you should be on the stage?
I have been practicing.
You have, okay. Thank you so much. Adam, moving to you now. I believe you're going to a draw along for us.
Yes, well, we'll try.
Okay.
So
For the draw along too.
now, I was going to say let's draw Bramble, but seeing as Claw's been getting some love today, I think we should try and draw the mean villain, Claw. So we'll do a sort of profile of his head. So if you start with a simple eye, just a circle like that, and then over the top of the eye, that circle, just you can already tell it's a mean shape, and then another little one like that, just a sort of triangle around it, which is sort of the shape of his eye. And then we'll put in his pupil there like that, her pupil, sorry. And then we do the top of the head, and then the most important bit, I think, is a big line for a long nose. You can sort of go quite long with the nose, and we end it at an angle like that, and then we come up with a mean mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe put a tooth in. And then you can colour in the nose at the end. Am I going a little fast? I feel like I'm going a little.
No.
I can't help it. I draw quite fast. I think it when you get a little bit of confidence with drawing and you can draw quite fast, that's sort of when it gets, for me, that's when it gets fun.
Yeah.
I don't like spending forever on a drawing. I haven't got much patience. And then
you can sense that in your drawing, Adam, because they're so high. It's like they're
there's
just
a quickness to them.
jumping off the page.
Yeah.
I think that comes from years of working as a storyboard artist, because you have to work really fast as a storyboard artist, which is visualizing a script for television and commercials and things.
So would you create the storyboard based on a story you've been given, or were you the starting point?
Yes. I get a script and or sometimes just some notes and we go from there. But generally a script. It's almost it's similar to, it's getting towards being a comic. It's like comics ish. It's you're just drawing each shot that's going to be in the commercial or TV or whatever.
Wow.
We've got to draw some ears.
Okay.
You can go quite big because wolves' ears are quite big. They get quite bat-like, I think.
Yeah. Really.
And just
This is amazing.
scribble a little shadow inside. Now, I've run out of room, so I'm just going to move it over. You can't do that. This is cheating. Normally, I draw the book. I drew it in ink on with ink and paint on paper, and then I would scan it in. But this is just drawing in Photoshop. Yes. So underneath her neck, she has thick fur, and then we just draw some more fur over here.
Wow.
And there's a kind of claw.
That's a gorgeous claw.
It's amazing. It's incredible just to see it come to life like that.
Yeah, really wonderful.
I think it took me a while to get into drawing the wolves, but I feel like it's always the same. Towards the end of the project, you're like, oh, I finally got it. And then you're on to the next thing.
Oh, that's incredible. Thank you so much. I'm not going to show you my version because I think I'd be quite embarrassed, but that was fantastic. I love it. Thank you. So back to us. We're nearly out of time, unbelievably. But what I did want to know from both of you was imagining if the characters in the book, they've gone into wolf world, but if they were in our world as well, what their favourite books would be.
I think Whisker would like Hairy McClary from Donaldson's Dairy.
Yeah.
I think he'd like funny, silly books. But I think also he'd like things like I Love You, Blue Kangaroo, because it's got a soft heart. But I think he'd quite like reading. I think he'd quite like Bunny versus Monkey and the Phoenix.
Yes.
He likes stories with lots of slapstick and silliness and people falling over and things like that. Will would probably like I Am Rebel, which I love. Wonderful book by Ross. Where is it? Somewhere. Ross Montgomery. I think that's a brilliant book. I think Will would like that sort of book that pull him into another world about dogs.
That's it. And I mean, this is going to join that wealth of children's books about dogs and for dog lovers and those of us who, whether we have a dog or not, love them and appreciate that bond. It's I think this is the start. Well, is this the start of something? Can we expect more from Wolf World?
Well, I hope so.
Adam, you look down then as if you're avoiding that question.
I don't know anything. I don't know.
No?
I think we'll have to wait and see. But
okay.
I have ideas in my head. So fingers crossed. Wood crossed.
I, for one, would be happy to campaign for more because it is absolutely fantastic. And as I finished it, the first thing I was thinking was, well, now I want more. I want to know what happens next. And there's so many other stories that I imagine you could come up with from all these fantastic characters. We've not even talked about Flint Pack, really, and they must have some good stories.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Flint Pack are a whole... Well, yes. They've got their own backstory, haven't they?
Yeah, well, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for something else. Thank you. Sadly, though, we are pretty much out of time. I could happily sit and talk to you both all day, and I've got so many more questions, but I won't keep you any longer. I just want to say thank you both so much, both for the chat, but for such a fantastic book that I know so many young readers are just going to fall in love with. I'm excited for them to get into their hands. As I said at the start, Will Wolfheart is published by David Ficklin Books, and that is on the 3rd of July. And it will, of course, be available to buy from the Love Reading for Kids website. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's been really lovely.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.